right, so I usually just start um, when I'm feeling like this. I just kind of start with some splice loops. Just kind of let that spark the idea. That's usually when I don't have like an idea in mind already, and I just wanna get some refs in, right? I actually like this loop a lot. I think it's super dope, but I usually don't. That sounds like an already ready-made beat to me, so I would probably wouldn't use something like that. But I decided to use this drum loop. I thought it was cool and simple. And this was kind of like a late night vibe. So just got a cool little 8-bar loop. Sped it up a little bit. Usually when I'm designing sounds like this, I'm just experimenting. So I literally just try anything that comes to mind. I don't judge it too harshly. If I like it, I like it. If I don't, I let it go. But I never try to make it to where it's like, has to be perfect or anything like that. It's literally just like a flow of ideas. So I wasn't even really sure what I wanted to do with this, so I was just kind of intuitively just flowing through it. I ended up starting with like a little bit of ambience. Not a whole lot, but just like a little touch. Then I threw Soothe on there to kind of temper it a little bit. And Smack Attack, I like to use this to with my loops because you can just change like the character of the drums a little bit. If you want them to sound more tight, Like, yeah, see, like this kind of tightens it a little bit. I had to move it though, because I put it after the reverb, so it was kind of sounding crazy. So I moved it to the beginning of my chain. It kind of makes the little ride cymbal do a weird thing, but I kind of liked it, so. Then I threw another endless smile on there as more like a delay. Yeah. It's almost like a little slap delay, like a 16th or something. So I decided to take out the low end and add my own kick, because I didn't like how that kick sounded. I wanted more of a rounder kick. That one seems more like flat. I like using Reason for my drums. I've been using Reason for my drums for like ever since I started producing. So. You can kind of hear that the kick from the loop is a little bit off. It's kind of an off time loop. I just decided to fix it later. I didn't want to get too caught up doing like technical fixes and stuff, you know. Just still trying to get the idea out. Because at this point, I still don't know what this is or what it's going to be. I'm just kind of taking one step at a time, right? That's what I mean when I say kind of intuitively flowing through the process of creating the music. It's like I don't necessarily know where it's going yet, but I'm just kind of trusting my instincts at every step, right? And trusting my ear. This is very much a feelings-based process, right? It's not very logical. I just kind of know I'm getting there by how the music is making me feel, right? So I wanted another rhythmic element in there, so I decided to look for another loop. decided on that one. I'm definitely one of those producers that'll spend like 2 hours looking through sounds. So sometimes I just force myself to pick one. But at this point, it's like, okay, it's sound design anyway, right? So I'm about to mangle this sound up either way it goes. So I just need some movement, you know? That filter is probably the only thing on Serato Sample that I don't like. I realized I was doing too much work. Throw some modulation on there. It's gonna help it sit back first, and then another one, spreader, is gonna give it some movement. So now we got this like ambient, cool sounding, just like rhythm in the background that it's kind of one of those things that the listener doesn't even really notice it's there, but it makes you move and you can feel it, right? But it's in the grand scheme of the entire production, it's not necessarily going to be distinguishable to the average person. God is in the details, though. That's what an old friend of mine used to say that. God is in the details. Oh, so this is where I went to fix those kicks that were out of time. So now I'm ready to add some melodic, some musical elements. So I'm just going to some of my preset sounds. Remember, at this point, I'm still have no idea what I want musically, so I'm just kind of spitballing, brainstorming. And keep in mind that the whole purpose of this is to create new sounds, right? So at the end of this session, I should have new sounds, right? I already have a loop that I created, right? That I can save and bring back again. I end up deciding to pick up my guitar. I always keep my mess ups in. I see sometimes people putting these production videos of them just like speeding through beats, getting everything right on the first time. Like, that's so corny. Like, you know, you practiced this 100 times before you turn that camera on. Like, stop playing. So the whole point of this for me is just to show a real process. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not an internet producer. I never have been. I've just recently started even showing some of my process online. You know, but I do have real life receipts for, you know, things I've actually done in the real music industry. So I like to just kind of show my process. So especially for young producers and people who are just starting to see that, like, you know, wherever you are, it's okay. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to, like, now I got a pretty cool vibe. I think at this point I'm just kind of figuring out what else I want to add. So on guitar, I'm pretty I play by ear on guitar. I don't have the theory of the fretboard really worked out yet. I'm a piano player by trade originally. So whenever I play stuff on guitar, I never know what key I'm in. So I usually have to get the piano so I can figure out what key I'm in. So I realized that my guitar was tuned to 432, which is a alternate tuning. People, you probably see online a lot of people use for like meditation and like spiritual music and stuff like that. So I do a lot of my production in 432. I just like the way that it feels. It's not something I do all the time, but more often than not, I usually do 432. And I actually got a couple of potentially,
check.
fingers crossed, hopefully, a couple of records with some big artists coming out in 432. So that would be dope. So I was adding some vocal stuff in here. I muted the mic because I don't like to hear myself. So I needed to sing it again. I didn't realize at the time that it was the auto-tune. I had to set the auto-tune a little bit differently.
Yeah. Ba ba da da da, ba da da da, ba da da da.
I'm obviously not a singer, but I do what I can. At the end of the day, it all works, right? You're gonna see when you see what I turn it into. It's another reason why I like to show the process, right? It shows the power of like creativity, So this is when I was realizing that I needed to use a different auto-tune because I'm detuned. To get to 432, you have to detune your whole session by like 32 cents basically, approximately. So that particular auto-tune doesn't allow you to do that. Auto-Tune Pro does, but Logic's built-in pitch corrector, when I set my session tuning to that, it'll set all the Logic stock plugins to that same tuning as well. And I've used this for years, so there we go. Now I can start saucing it up. So the first thing I want to do is compress it, because this is supposed to be a background sound. So I don't need it to be super dynamic, you know. Just tame it a little bit. And then put one of my favorite plugins. I believe that's what I did right here. Yeah, little altar boy. Cue it a little bit. That low end don't need to be there. Or that mid. Yeah, clean. Now back to Sound Toys, I believe. Maybe I did something else. Yeah. Yeah. Crystallizer. Get some cool effects in there. You can already start to see where it's going. I'm just playing around with stuff here because I don't really know what I want for real. I kept hearing little stuff I wanted to change. I kept thinking it was done. It was like, no. Yeah. And then back to, I believe I added another Endless Smile, this is just one of my favorite plugins, just hands down. I use it so much. But it adds such a vibe. Like, listen to that. See, like, who would listen to this and know that that was me that sang that? At this point, I'm just kind of like wanting to add some more guitar layers. I'm going to some of my guitar presets. These are not ones that I have made available to the public yet. I don't know if I ever will. Just because I use them so much. So instead of playing this chord over and over again, because I want different sounds on it, but it was late and I was being lazy. So I just copied it and nudged it a little bit. I ended up changing that sound, but so I did one more layer for like a super kind of like ambient kind of guitar. Now I'm just listening to everything and tweaking. realizing I don't really like the second guitar or that pitch shift. I didn't like the pitch shift either, so I switched it back. Yeah, smooth, clean. And then just the first guitar on the second one. And this one, I think I don't know if I actually. Oh, I did change it to another one. I have this crystalline guitar. That's another one of my presets that has like a little halftime thing on it. And a cool little tail. Now I'm in engineer mode. Once I get to this point, now I start trying to clean up the sounds, the little stuff I hear, frequencies I don't like. Depending on what mood I'm in, depends on how much I'll do. But there's a lot of mixing I could do with this, just to open it up more. So I think at this point I just decided I was done. So I went ahead and saved it. I called it counselor because I'm reading this book called The Silver Mind Control Method. And it talks about your counselor basically being like an inner guide to help you solve problems or figure things out mentally. When you go to like a certain meditative level, basically is what they call it in the book. And your counselor is it's kind of like the angel on your shoulder type of thing, but it's in your mind. It's like helping you, showing you things, you know? So now I'm just going through and saving the new sounds that I created. So I got this vocal the vocal thing that I created. So I can save that as a Logic channel strip. So whenever I want to create something like that, sing into it or whatever, I can just sing my melody and then slap that right on there and it's done. I just called it arcade because it kind of reminded me of like one of the arcade kind of chops that people be doing. And that's why I say like stuff like arcade is cool, is great. Like I'm not knocking using arcade, but in my opinion, this is just another level of sound design, right? This is like I created that from scratch, right? It's just levels. That's all I'm saying. And then my loop. And those are two completely new sounds that I made. Well, that trash can loop was a already existing loop. Um, but yeah, and that's it. Um, this kind of like, I guess, just a peek into some of my sound design process. Me when I'm just kind of messing around, basically. But those are the times where you usually come up with really cool ideas when you kind of just when it feels like you're going through the motions, you know, that sometimes that's the best time to sit down and lock in and just do something, do anything, right? Doesn't have to be great, but you never know what that might spark, right? Now I just created two new sounds to add to my library, right? And it just, as you build up your sound design kind of folders and stuff, it streamlines your creation process because you don't have to spend as much time looking for sounds because you're starting to kind of already create your own tailor-made production style. And so you kind of have like your folder set of like, no, these are my sounds. That doesn't mean you never go outside of that. It just means you kind of have your staples and you start to kind of you started to make those the center of what you do, right? And so that's what you hear when you're listening to some of these big name producers, who, especially the ones who, when you hear one of their productions, you can tell it's them, right? Back in the day when Timberland and like the Neptunes, when they were having their crazy run, you hear certain sounds, it's them, right? That's where that comes from. It comes from taking the time to develop and create these sounds that become a part of like the staple of your production, right? So I hope this was helpful in some way, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.